Hello everyone, and welcome back to another coin roll hunting video. In today's video we're going to be searching through $240 in mixed rolls, so let's get into it. Alright, so I thought we'd start this hunt off by searching through the quarters first. So what I'm going to do is we're going to edge hunt these first 5 rolls together, and then if we do end up finding a lot while edge hunting, then we might edge hunt the other 5 as well. But otherwise I'll just search through them on my own, and then I'll bring you in if I find things. While we're edge hunting, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I look for. So to start things off, I do have this Washington Quarters book that is 1965 to 1987, and I did recently fill it out. But there are a lot of coins that are not the best condition that could use an upgrade, so these are a list of some of those coins that could just use a little bit of an upgrade if I find them. So I'll be keeping an eye out for all of these in good condition to check with my book for upgrades as we hunt. And let's start getting into these rolls and I'll tell you a little bit more. So when we edge hunt, the main thing that we look for with quarters at least is our 90% silver. So quarters that were minted 1964 and older are all 90% silver. And you'll be able to tell pretty clearly most of the time when you look at the edge of a quarter. You'll just see a bright white edge, which I'm not seeing right here. And there'll be very little copper, little to no copper in that edge of the coin. So that's the primary thing that we look for when edge hunting, because it tends to stand out on the edge. But we look for other things as well. Some other things that we look for are foreign coins. Those tend to stand out a lot of the time because they often don't have the same edge as the American coinage. And then after I edge hunt, I do search through all of these coins individually. I'm struggling to open this roll here. So I will look through all of these, and we look for a lot of things in that as well. So some of the things that we look for error coins, a lot of different errors when it comes to quarters. We look for proof coins, which I'm still yet to find a single proof coin, so that would be a cool find for me. Foreign coins, like I said before, when I said for edge hunting, sometimes I miss them, and so I'll look through for that. And same with silver, if I miss it, and it's always good to look through again because I could find it, like, even if I missed it while edge hunting. I also look for the 2019 and 2020 West Point minted quarter, and I did find one of those, a 2021 that has the V75 privy mark on it, which I can show in a minute once I get this roll opened up. And I don't see any silver there. So this is the West Point minted quarter that I got. You can see that W mint mark right there, and then right up here it's the V75 privy. So this quarter would be worth about $30 or so, which is pretty cool because it's in really low mintage. So that's something that we look for. So yeah, that's the majority of the things that we look for. There are some fairly valuable quarter errors that we look for. A lot of the errors are not worth very much, like $1 or $2, but there are some that can be worth quite a bit, especially if you get a quarter that's in good condition with them. And I'm not seeing any silver there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search through these rolls here, and I'll bring you all in when I find something. Alright, so I was just going through roll number 2, and I just got a couple coins in, and I found this coin. And this coin is one of the new 2024 quarters. And this is the first 2024 quarter I've found. This is a 2024 Denver. So I'm going to set all of these 2024s that I find aside too. And then sometime at the end of the video, we'll talk about them and I'll check them for errors and things like that. Alright, so I just finished searching through the quarters, and the only real thing that we found was this 2024 Patsy Mink quarter, which is the first 2024 quarter that I found this year. I did find a couple quarters up here that will likely be upgrades. I've got to check in my book. But then up here, I've got a bunch of quarters that I've set aside to look for errors. So I'm going to go do that real quick. And then if I find anything, I'll bring you in. If not, then we'll move on to either the dimes or the nickels. I haven't decided yet. Alright, so I am looking at this 2015 Nebraska Homestead quarter, and you can see it under the scope here. We have a little bit of a die chip error. So there's this die chip error that this has. Well, this has a lot of die chip errors and other errors, actually, this particular quarter. But you can see right here we've got a fairly large die chip. And this error is called the snow on the roof error. Sometimes it covers like almost the whole roof. That one just seems to have that little bit, and then it has a little tiny bit right here that's hovering just above the roof. This coin also can have errors where it has like doubling in the windows. Also, it has an error called the leaky bucket error, where there's just a giant die chip down here, and sometimes it just fills up this whole cavity right here. We don't have any of that, but I thought I would show you since we found a little bit of the snow on the roof. And if I can get any eBay comps, I'll put them up here. But we'll set that aside as a find for the hunt. Alright, so I didn't end up finding anything else with the quarters, so I thought that we'd move on to the nickels. So I'm going to do the same just 5-roll edge hunt that we did with the quarters. And then if we end up finding a bunch, then we might do some more edge hunting. And if not, then I'll just look through them off camera and bring you in when I find stuff. So let's start this edge hunt. So to start things off, I will be setting aside everything that is older than 1962 for nickels, because there's a lot of errors in those years, and they're just old, so sometimes they're worth more because of their age. The main things that we look for when we're doing our edge hunting is our silver war nickels. So during World War II, from 1942 to 45, they made nickels out of an alloy that had 35% silver, which this might actually be one. Let's see if this is just like dirty coin or if this is one of them. This actually is a silver war nickel. Alright. Well, we got our first silver on the hunt. You can see that there, and how I know it's a silver war nickel is you've got the building here, and then above the building is a mint mark. And this is a Philadelphia mint mark, so let's see what year it is. This is a 1945, I think that says. Looks like it. 1945 Philadelphia silver war nickel. So this is made out of a 35% silver alloy. And the reason why the government did this was because they really needed nickel for different things with the war effort, like munitions or things like that. And so they made the silver was less valuable, so they used it to make the coins instead. And they put these mint marks on here so that after the war they could collect them all and melt them down to get that silver back, but they never really did that. They did melt it a little bit, but there's still so many in circulation. So this is a super cool find, and it's an old find, and it's silver, so that is definitely the best find we've found so far out of quarters and nickels. So if we keep this up, then we definitely will be doing some more edge hunting. I'm going to just stick that up here real quick. Let me check this now too. I don't think that this one is, but you saw in that roll that nickel is a darker color. It gets tarnished because of that silver in it. So that's what we're looking for mainly when we edge hunt. Other things that we look for are foreign coins is a big one, because they often have different edges, because nickels, they don't have any reeded edges, but like Canadian nickels have reeded edges and things like that. Or other foreign coins could have things like that as well that just stand out. I will be looking through all of these coins after we do our edge hunt as well. Let me just check this. I think this one's just dirty. This one's a ground target, which means someone found it in the ground. Maybe they're metal detecting or something. But yeah, I will look through all of these after. Look for errors, look for proofs. Also look for Henning Nickels, which is a type of counterfeit nickel. I've got a video on that if you want to check it out. It's pretty interesting. Nothing there that I see. Also, in 2020, the West Point Mint minted a nickel. So the 2020 W nickel is something that we look for. But yeah, we will see what we find. And I do have a book for nickels, but it's full and all of them are pretty good condition, so I'm not really looking for anything. If I do find a nickel that's like really nice, I might set it aside to look and see if it would be better than what I've got in the book, but other than that, I don't really have specifics that I'm looking for. Oh, I also forgot to mention anything old, so like a buffalo nickel or a V nickel would be awesome. So anyways, guys, we got through those first 5 rolls and we already found silver. I've got a bunch more rolls to search through other than those, so I'm going to go through those and I'll bring you in when I find something. Alright, so I just laid out all the rolls. I opened them all up because I wanted to edge hunt them after I found silver in the, what was it, the first or the second roll, something like that. But I do notice something just by looking at this angle at this roll, which I think this is roll number 12. And I notice right here, there's some dots on the edge of that coin, which means that this is a Canadian coin. So there you go, Canadian 5 cent, 1985. There's the beaver, and you can see there's Queen Elizabeth's head right there. So that's our first foreign coin on the hunt. Alright, I've got another find here, and I found it just like this, reverse facing, and I didn't realize anything about it because it's kind of worn and stuff. But once I turned it around, I realized what it is. And if we flip it over, we have ourselves a 2007 San Francisco proof nickel. So that's my first ever proof nickel that I found. And proof coins typically they have a mirror finish, and this has almost all but lost its mirror finish. You can tell it's definitely been circulated, but nonetheless it is a proof nickel. I'm going to find its mintage and red book real quick. But these were just sold in proof sets, so that would mean that someone would have had to take it out of their proof set and spend it. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, this is cool for me because it's the first proof of any denomination that I've ever found. I've never found one prior to this. Let me see, we want nickels. I'm looking at my red book right here. And nickels are right here. So nickels 2007 is on this page. So we've got our 2007S right here. And that's 2,577,000 mintage. So there you go, pretty low mintage. So we got a proof coin on the hunt. Alright, so I just finished going through all the rolls of nickels, so now I'm going to go through these. And these are the ones that I set aside that are older than 1962. So we've got 1940, 1941, 1946, 2 1954s, 1957, 2 1958s, and 2 1959s. So I'm going to check them for errors, and if I find anything, I'll bring you in, and if not, then we'll move on to the dimes. Alright, so I didn't end up finding any errors with the nickels, so I thought we'd move on to the dimes. So for the dimes, all of the dimes that I have are customer wrapped. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to edge hunt the 5 like we did with the quarters and the nickels, and we'll talk a little bit about what we look for. So the main thing to start things off that we look for when we edge hunt is our 90% silver. So all dimes that are older than 1964, or that are 1964 and older, I should say, are made up of 90% silver. So they're worth significantly more than a dime because of that silver value. So that's the primary thing that we look for, and this isn't going to be much of an edge hunt per se, because as you can see, they're not going to come out as smoothly because they're customer wrapped rolls. But that's okay. Still looking for pretty much the same thing, but if I see other things too, then I'll shout it out. But with silver, for dimes, instead of like nickels when we look for that darker edge, dimes we're looking for a lighter edge, so like a bright blast white edge. Is what we're looking for with dimes, or just the face of it in this case, since we're not exactly looking at the edge. Other things that I look for when I'm hunting for dimes are the coin that I hunt, that I search the least of, or I should say, dimes are the coin that I have the least things that I hunt for when I'm searching through dimes. So there are some errors that I look for. Oh, this got double wrapped, just going to make it harder to open. But yeah, there's some errors that I look for, but very few compared to other coins. I'm just going to rip this roll if I can. Here we go. It's got wrapped twice. So very tight. There we go. But yeah, I search for some errors, but not nearly as many as others, so there's less to find there. I would love to find a proof coin. The first ever proof coin I found was that nickel that we found just barely, so it'd be cool to find more. We'll also look for foreign coins, so foreign coins that are the size of a dime could be in a dime roll, just like we found that Canadian nickel. And also the 1996 West Point minted dime is something that we look for. That's really, really low mintage, so the chances of that are not in our... The odds aren't in our favor for that, but I still will be looking for it because it would be super cool to find. Come on, dimes, come out. There we go. Customer ups are hard sometimes, especially with the dimes because they're so small. But anyways, guys, I'm not seeing anything first glance here, so I'm going to search through them, and then I'll bring you in if I find anything. Alright, so I just opened all the rolls, and I decided to dump them all in a big pile just like this. And there's two things in this pile that stand out to me, at first glance at least. The first thing is right here. This is not a dime. This is a foreign coin. This is a 5 pence. And let's see what year it is. That is, I gotta read it off camera because I can't read from super far away. It's a 1998. You can see right there. If I can get it to focus. Maybe, almost, maybe. There we go. So there's a 1998 5 pence. So that's cool. So we'll set that aside as a foreign find. But another thing that I noticed is this right here. This is a penny. This is not a dime. You can see, I mean, it's very corroded, but you can see Lincoln on there, and it's made of copper. This is just a, let me see what year it is. 1990. So nothing special. So we did get shorted 10 cents here. We also got a foreign coin, and I haven't searched through any of this or really seen anything besides that. So we've got a lot to look through. So I'm going to look through these, and then I'll bring you in when I find something. Alright, so I just finished searching through the dimes and I haven't found anything else, so these are the ones that I set aside to look for errors. So I'm going to put them all under the scope and look for errors, and I'll bring you back in if I find anything, and if I don't, then I'll bring you in for a wrap-up. Alright, so we're looking at this 1970 Roosevelt dime here, and this is an error that I usually find at least one of in every dime hunt that I do, so it's a pretty common error. But I don't know if you can see here, but we're looking in the flame right here. And if I put a little shadow on this, you can see that there's two lines in the flame. Just right in here, there's two lines. Let me move this one over. There's a second one here that has it as well. And this one you can see better. If I put shadow, you can see those two lines very clearly there. And those lines are not supposed to be there. So in the 1968 dime, it had a proof reverse that had more detail in the flame, which was these two lines. But the 1970 is not supposed to have that, so that's an error. So it's the 1970 with a reverse of 68, and I've got two of them, so I'll put it on the hunt as a find. Alright, so I just finished looking through the dimes and I haven't found anything else, so I thought I'd bring you in for our final wrap-up. So to start things off, we have our quarters, and our quarters we only had one find, which is this 2015 Nebraska Homestead quarter, and it has a little error called the snow on the roof, like we talked about earlier in the video. So you can even see right there, even without a microscope, you can see that little dye chip on the roof there on the corner on this side. So I'll put an eBay comp up for that. I'll put an eBay comp for all of these when they come up, I guess I should say, if there's a good one to show. But that's a cool error coin that we found. For the dimes, we do have these two 1970s with the reverse of 68, which is a super common error. You can see under there without magnification those two lines in the torch as well, in the flame. And so that's a super common error. It's not worth very much, but it still gives you something to look for. For dimes, we also found this 1998 5 pence, which is kind of cool. I've never found a 5 pence in a coin roll hunt before, so that's a foreign on the hunt, so pretty neat. We did get misstuffed or understuffed in one of our dime rolls as well and got this penny, and I think it's 1990 something, so it's really not anything special, and it's super dirty and crusty, so yeah, but this does happen, and sometimes you get overstuffed, sometimes you get understuffed, and it is what it is. I feel like it typically evens out most of the time, so I'm not too worried about it. Then lastly for our nickels, we did find some silver. So this is our 35% silver war nickel, which is 1945, I believe. Yep, 1945. It's from the Philadelphia Mint, as you can see on the back there. So it's always fun finding silver because it's valuable, but this is historic silver as well because of World War II, which is super cool. And I have a video on those if you want to go check that out. I'll leave it in the description of this video. We also found a Canadian nickel from 1985. I do find these quite often, Canadian nickels and pennies when I search them. So, but they're a cool thing to look for when you're coin roll hunting. And lastly, this is a really cool find for me because it's the first one I've ever found. We found a nickel proof. So this is a 2007 San Francisco minted nickel proof nickel. So you can see there that's a proof, which is super cool. And I mean, most of it's been circulated for sure. Most of the mirror finish is wiped off of it, but you can see a little bit in God We Trust, the reflectiveness of it, how it's different from a typical nickel. So it's pretty cool for me because it's my first find, and it's really low mintage because it wasn't meant to be circulated, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, guys, I'm super pleased with this hunt. We found a lot. We pretty much found a little bit of everything, which is kind of awesome. So if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I try to make content like this, doing coin roll hunts, as well as doing different videos on different coins and bills in my coin collection and some of their history. If you have any comments on any of these coins or on coin roll hunting or anything relating to coin collecting, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I try to answer all the comments that I get as soon as I can, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.